Greetings, petrolheads. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Today, I'm gonna continue with the showcase series of this week, and it's gonna be the AMW Eagle. We got plenty to talk about here. Now I have, excuse me, I have showed a little bit of this car already, like a bit ago, on a stream, but you know, no really detailed look into it. So what is the Eagle? The Eagle is basically your average premium sports coupe, but of relatively small size. So you can compare this to sort of like the AMW 2 series, if you will. I say it is what the BMW 3 Series coupe used to be, and let's look into this. What makes this car? On all of these models, of course, this tab is going to be the same. So it's aluminum chassis and panels. We got longitudinal engine placement, of course, double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear suspension, giving you a nice sporty feel, just as you'd expect from a car like this. Aesthetically, I didn't change all too much about the old Eagle, even though, you know, those files were completely gone. So I had to delete all of them in order to be able to play the game again. That happened a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we got some LEDs in this front bumper. We got aggressive headlights with some white LED stripes in them. These taillights are probably not everybody's favorite, but hey, well, I tried. I really like the silhouette, the side silhouette of this car. I think I did a decent job with morphing it. And on this tab, of course, like everything's, all the trims that I'm gonna be showing are rear drive. No, actually, because there's always all-wheel drive also available, which you can see by the X in those model names, in those trim names. So yeah, everything except for the base model, the base 6, is also available in all-wheel drive. And the base 6 has a 2.5 liter inline 6, which is naturally aspirated. We got some decent internals here, relatively low cam profile for the flat torque curve here, and 10.9 compression ratio is nothing too out of the ordinary. Direct injection all the way leaned out, because we don't really need to richen the fuel mixture to get this thing to produce more power, because there's other versions available and they'll be more economical as well because they're turbocharged. So straight full mufflers, long tubular headers, plus free quality on the exhaust section, because AMW is partnered with Remus, and yeah, this is a solid entry-level engine, I think. And especially, and what is especially good about this engine is that it's very drivable, very predictable. This has the highest drivability of all Eagles, which it should have, given that it's the base model. So all models come with a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard. Excuse me. You can also opt for an automatic, or, well, actually no, I think I'd rather put a 6-speed double clutch in there, or a 7-speed rather. I don't really know what I want, so I'm sorry. So medium compound road tires of relatively narrow size, meaning that even with this 175 horsepower engine, you can have some fun if you want to. You got vented discs up front and on the rear, fully clad under tray. We do have some lips, which is why these wing angles kind of matter a little bit. We got 4 seats with premium interior and standard infotainment, and then advanced safety. Uh, yeah, so premium interior, standard infotainment, pretty much what you'd expect, I think, from this kind of car. Standard springs, semi-active 10% active sway bars, allowing for good ride comfort, and we should stiffen the front spring maybe a little bit. No, the front damper as well. No, I think it's fine. So obviously, this being the base version, it is heavily focused towards drivability rather than sportiness, even though sportiness is also quite good for the 6.3, and economy is not that bad, 6.3 liters. Running costs are less than $2,000 per year, just barely under $2,000, but still. And it markets pretty well in light sport, sport budget, front premium, yeah, these kind of categories. I actually would like to sell this for $25,000 though. It is still kind of competitive, but keep in mind that we have a significant desirability penalty because this is an old body, but we don't have anything newer in this kind of category, a small sports coupe. So yeah, that's kind of a shame. Right, so this is the base model. It does 0 to 100 in 7 seconds, top speed 235. Has some decent cornering, good braking. So next up is going to be the Eco 6. Which has also a 2.5 liter engine, but it is turbocharged. And we get air-to-air intercoolers in these engines because air-to-air is lighter, and we don't really need the extra. We don't really need the water-to-air large intercooler because yes, it will make more power, but you don't really need that. We can get power otherwise by optimizing this, and also the water-to-air intercooler is a lot heavier. So this, if I didn't mention that before, this is also based on the same engine block as the one in the base model. So yeah, good economy, good reliability, 210 horsepower, and yeah, really good economy. Drivability is still at 50.7, which is certainly not bad. And we get a 6-speed manual gearbox again. Tires are still the same, brakes are the same. Cooling airflow is obviously higher. Interior is the same, and suspension is also the same. This does 0 to 100 in 6.3 seconds, which is already pretty nice. And next up in the line is the Eco X6, which I'll only touch slightly. I'm not gonna talk too much about this. It has the same engine. The main difference is, of course, the all-wheel drive. All all-wheel drive models have a 30 to 70 power distribution. And yeah, what comes with the all-wheel drive system? More drivability, I guess a little bit more comfort as well, a little bit more safety because of the extra weight, and in this case a slower acceleration time because, you know, we're not really making that much power yet, so that the river drive car won't get much wheel spin off the line, and therefore it'll be faster because it's faster once it's hooked up, because it's lighter. And next up is gonna be the fun version. And that shares the same engine block, like everything that has this 6 in the name shares the same engine block on the Eagle, at least. We get the same internals and everything, slightly more cam profile. Um, Obviously different turbo setup, still all the way leaned out though, and a higher RPM limit, making 240 horsepower and a really nice torque curve. With the 6-speed manual and slightly wider tires, it'll be able to reach 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds, and the top speed is going to be 250. I'll worry about that later, getting that to precisely 250 if that's at all relevant. And the Fun X6 is, I think, something we're gonna just skip, because the Sport 6 is one of the actually interesting models, I think. It's still based on the same engine block, but has significantly retweaked cam profile, turbo setting, and just right here it has a throttle per cylinder configuration on the intake, on the fuel system, because that makes for a lot more throttle response. And it's pushing 280 horsepower, a good amount of torque for an engine this size. And the point with this car that I got in my head is that, you know, this is basically the spiritual successor to an E36 M3 coupe, and that is because, like, you get similar amounts of power, similar torque, similar weight. They're both rear drive. They both have a 6-speed manual gearbox, and but of course that's where the similarities end, because this is obviously a new car, and as such it has better tires, better suspension, better brakes, better aerodynamics. Also, this is focused a lot more on sportiness, obviously, than the eco versions. I worried quite a lot about the fact that on the previous Eagle that I built, the suspension setups between the Eco, Fun and Sport were not really, they were basically the same. Whereas here I made it so the Eco versions are more focused towards drivability and comfort, sport versions are focused on sport, and Fun is somewhere in between. So yeah, this is, you know, a 5.1 second from 0 to 100 is certainly not slow at all. That is something you can expect from the 3-liter version of the M3 E36, which is the one I meant in the first place. And you can see that it pulls like really well for a car like this, like for a 2.5 liter engine. It costs 26,000, well, 620, I guess. I think this is more gonna be at about 26,000 and maybe 27,000, but still that is like really cheap, I guess, for what you get. At least economy is obviously a lot better than on said M3, and well, overall this is like, if you can't get an M3 E36 in good condition, but you have the money that you would require to not only buy but also maintain one such car, then, you know, this might be a great option. Because you gotta obviously consider that with the E36 M3 being an old car at this point, maintenance costs are gonna be way higher than on this one. You'll even get a warranty here. But in any case, the Eagle does not only have 6-cylinder engines available, it also has 8-cylinder engines. And the smallest, or the least powerful in the line, is the Eco 8. You can see here that this being an Eco model, the drivability is significantly higher than the sportiness, whereas it was the other way around for the sport model, and that's exactly what I wanted. So the 8-cylinder versions of the Eagle have a 4.5 liter V8 based on a 5-liter block, or a block with maximum capacity of 5 liters. And yeah, basically the smallest or the least powerful version has a 350 horsepower, good economy, good reliability, and a very flat top end of the power curve. Still a 6-speed manual, wider tires, slightly bigger brakes, and still the same interior. And this has the same suspension setup as the Eco 6, because I see no reason not to do that. We have a little bit of bottoming out, so allow me to fix that real quick. And yes, this weighs 1450 kilograms, which for a car this size is about average in today's age. For a car of this size, when this body would be new, like in the early 2000s, it is pretty heavy, I would say. It is also slower in acceleration, and also of course around the track, than a Sport 6, but that is just the way it's meant to be. This is more of a cruiser, more of an, if you want a V8 but don't want it to be extremely thirsty, you want it to be like reasonably comfortable and not that expensive, then this is basically what you want, I guess. It'll cost $32,500, which for a 4.5 liter V8 is not that much. 4.5 liter twin turbo V8. Also there's an all-wheel drive version of this, which I think we'll just skip. Then we go to the Fun 8, which has a retuned version of the same 4.5 liter engine, 400 horsepower, increased redline to 6800 RPM, and still, relatively good economy. Drivability is pretty low on this one, because I'm not really that happy with the way this torque curve looks, but it was the best I could do. So yeah, 6-speed manual still. Tires are slightly wider than on the Eco, and you can see that this is a little bit more moved towards the sportiness than the Eco versions. And what else do we have? Same brakes. Yeah, basically that's all the difference. It is faster than the Eco 8 in acceleration. It'll also spin its wheels in 3rd gear when accelerating hard, which is kind of funny even. And then there's the Sport 8, which I wanna spend a little bit more time with. So this has still the same 4.5 liter, or it is still based on the same 4.5 liter block, but it's got a 7,000 RPM rev limit. It's got higher cam profile, more boost, more power, 450 horsepower, bigger exhaust, not as much economy anymore, but still, pretty okay. And gearbox is the same, and this is tweaked to do, this should normally do 300 kilometers an hour. No, it doesn't quite do that apparently. What if we reduce this? There we go. That's where it should be. 300 kilometers an hour. Also, the acceleration time is a lot faster. This thing's quarter mile time is really impressive, actually, 12.5 seconds. Especially considering that this is gonna cost $35,000. And economy is still like not bad for a car this powerful. Not bad at all. And like the other sport version, the Sport 6, this is more focused towards sportiness than the other versions, and also it comes on sports tires as standard. The brakes are still the same as on the other 8-cylinder models. This is the same, and this, of course, is not the same as on the other versions. The suspension setup, and I think this would make a great mid-range sports car, because like on most with most car makers like Mercedes or Audi, if they put a sport badge on the car, it means that it's maybe a little bit sharper suspension, but that's basically all there is to it. Or maybe it's got a different interior even, and everything else is the same, including the suspension. That's just not what sport means. Sport means it should be more about performance, which this certainly is compared to its other companions in the lineup. It'll do the effort track in less than 120, and it'll do it in 119.7, and that is really fast for a car in this price range. And like, if you already thought this was fast for its money, watch the Sport X8, because this has the same engine, and like most other things are also the same, but it's got all-wheel drive, which means it's got traction, and that means it'll do 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds. This really is what like normal people would call an incredibly fast car, especially off the line. 3.4 seconds is about as fast as a Lamborghini Murcielago, perhaps. It is as fast as, not quite as fast, but almost as fast as a Noble M600. So that's the kind of acceleration we're getting here, and it's gonna cost $40,000. Yeah, so you get the idea. This is probably a car that, you know, itself won't probably rival the M4, because the M4 would rather compete against the regular Sport 8, I think. But this is basically a you could say a sort of Porsche Turbo / Nissan GTR kind of car, but obviously not quite as potent, but also a lot less expensive. This is the kind of car where, you know, you show somebody your new car, and then they're like, oh cool, nice little car you got there, and then you step on the throttle once and they're like shocked. That's the kind of car this is, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And yeah, I think I did a pretty decent job with that here. Also this needs cooling like that, and it'll almost go 300 kilometers an hour as well. Why only almost? Because well, obviously all-wheel drive weighs more than rear-wheel drive, and that slows it down a little bit at the top end. And also you lose a little bit more power through the all-wheel drive system than you do with the rear-wheel drive system. yeah, so that was it for the AMW Eagle, I think. Leave me comments in the comment section below, and don't forget to submit your car to the fan build competition that I announced in the previous episode. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave a like or comment if you did. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.